cracks in the family. The dust came for the land first. It stripped the fields, starved the animals, and emptied the cupboards. But hunger doesn't only gnaw at the body, it gnaws at the spirit. When the spirits weaken, cracks begin to show in marriages, in families, in the very bonds that once held us together. By the 4th year of the struggle, the storm outside was no longer our only enemy. We carried the storm into the walls of our own home. My wife had always been the steady one, stronger than she looked, with hands that could mend clothes and soothe fevered brows all in the same hour. But in those years, I saw the strength leave her face. She grew thinner, her eyes hollow with sleepless nights. She spoke less, prayed more. Sometimes I would find her staring into nothing, her lips moving without sound, as if bargaining with God himself, but God seemed silent. My boy had grown into a young man by then, though there was little joy in his becoming. He carried anger like a second skin. Every chore was an insult, every order a fight. He cursed the land that chained him, and cursed me for binding him to it. Some evenings he would sit by the railroad tracks, listening for the rumble of freight trains. I think he imagined climbing aboard, leaving this place behind forever. Maybe he even dreamed of a life without us. My daughter was younger, too young to understand the weight of what pressed upon us. She still laughed at the small things, a flower pushing through the dust, a sparrow's nest hidden in the barn rafters. She planted seeds even when she knew the soil was too dry to take them. She told me they only needed love to grow. In her hope, I found both comfort and sorrow, because I feared the day that her innocence would be taken from her, as surely as the storms had taken our fields. Inside the walls of our home, the smallest things could ignite. A missed chore, a broken tool, a loaf of bread cut too thin. Hunger shortens tempers, and fear turns love to bitterness. I raised my voice more often than I should have. My wife, worn to the bone, snapped back with sharp words I'd never heard from her before. My son's anger grew wild and reckless. More than once, I feared that our fights would come to blows. We were no longer fighting the dust. We were fighting each other. And when the shouting ended, silence settled in its place, a silence heavier than words. We sat at the table, bowls half empty, unable to meet each other's eyes. Shame is a quiet thing, and it builds in every corner of a room, in the pauses between breaths, until it feels louder than any storm. I told myself we would be forgiven for our tempers, but I knew each sharp word left a mark, a crack that widened with every passing season. Yet, even in the worst of it, there were moments, small mercies, like threads trying to stitch the cracks closed. My wife smoothing the girl's hair by lamplight. My son, when he thought no one saw, whittling a toy for his sister out of scrap wood. Once, after a storm, I found my wife humming softly as she swept the dirt from the floor, a tune her mother had sung in better times. These were the fragments that reminded me of what we once were and what we still might be if only we can endure this. But cracks once formed are also hard to mend. The dust may have battered our walls, but it was hunger and fear that battered our hearts. And though we still shared the same roof, I sometimes wonder if we were already drifting apart, each of us carrying a private storm the others could not calm. This land was breaking us, piece by piece, and we had many hard years still to face.